Hello everybody and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. It's a brand new series, brand new video, and we're going to be trying to make it to the moon. This is the plan, this is what I'm going to do. First off, absolutely awful at this game. Just as a pre-warning, if you're looking to watch this video for some tips or to pick up some ways to do things better, maybe you can learn from our mistakes, maybe that's where the learning will come from, I don't know. But we're just going to get involved, get in, and build some spaceships and try and get into space. I think the first thing I want to try and do is orbit Earth. That's the first thing. If I can do that, great. And then we're going to go from there to the moon. It's going to be a long trek, I think. But we're going to get going. I've already started a career mode, so we're just going to jump straight into that. First of all, you might be asking, what is Kerbal Space Program? If you've never seen this before, it's a game about making space rockets, which is amazing. As a kid, loved astronauts and space and all that lot. So this is sort of a dream game, but I'm not a scientist. I don't have a scientist mind, so that part of it I find difficult. For me, it's raw power. I like just putting as many rockets on a ship as possible and then shooting it up into space. So I have many options. You can go to a launch pad. We've got the tracking station where you can keep track of any ships that you might have up in space or whatever, if you get to the point where you can do that. Most of the time I just land back on Kerbin, which is the planet we're on, and I recover the ship, and that's all I can do. And you've got research and development, so when you go out, and you can do things that build up your science points. So I've got plenty of science points. I'm sort of, building towards something. I can't remember what I'm going to go for next, but I've got plenty of parts for my ship, which is cool. Done plenty of research on all these different places and get science from them, which is cool. And obviously I want to go to all these different planets, get all these different science. You can build ships as well and get astronauts and build space planes and all sorts. Really fun game. Let's have a look at what I've done so far. Really need to get my custom flag sorted. I'll do that at some point. Let's have a look at some spaceships I've made. Quite a few I've played around with. I quite like the SS Boom ship and the Atmos Buster. This gets me into space, but that's about it at the moment. So let's have a look at this thing. As you can see, it's ridiculous, and it definitely needs some work. I mean, last time I went out in it, we basically got these four. We got these four. I'll just zoom out a bit so you can see the thing. We've got four of these fuel things. If I go to, where are they? They are the solid fuel boosters, which you turn on and then you can't turn off again. So they're to get me quite high up, and then I drop those off in this sort of stage 3 here, and then that starts this rocket, which is this fuel tank with a propulsion on the bottom. Tempted to change that to another one of these just to get that extra boost up, and then we've got another rocket here. And then we have this fuel connected to these, but I've not quite figured them out, so I'm tempted to get rid of them. Not very good with them. And then we've got the top here. We just have a look at the top. We have these struts coming off. When I land, I can put out the struts and land safely. We've got a science bay thing here where we can do experiments. That's this thing. And then there's our pod for our one person, and we've got the goo, and we've got these things for sending stuff back in case, I don't know, in case spaceships get lost in space. I can send all the data back to get science without worrying about it having to land back in Kerbin. So what I might do is have a little play around, and we'll see what I can do, and we'll come back and see what any sort of additions I've made. I may add another engine or something. Alright, I think I've pretty much got this going with my Atmos Buster, so we'll save that for now. And what I want to do is show you the basics, because I haven't really gone through that yet. So you have to start off with your command pod. I've only got one so far. And then you want an engine, and what you can do with the engines, you can either have a solid fuel booster like this. And what the solid fuel booster does is, that is basically the engine and fuel all in one. So but the only thing is you can't turn it off. So it's great for pushing you up into the atmosphere to start with. But after that, you can't really tweak it. So that's where the engines come in. So we have so for this to work, we have to have a fuel tank and an engine. The fuel tank gives the fuel to the engine, which then gives you propulsion. So when you're up in space, you can then use the, sort of toggle the speeds, and you can turn it off and stuff. So as soon as you get in orbit, you can use that to mess around and stuff. Not that I've gotten into orbit yet. So that's our cockpit and our propulsion. Don't have any control stuff at the moment, which isn't great. Stack decouplers, very important. If I have an engine and a stack decoupler, what I can then do is use this, and then as soon as I'm finished with it, I want to get it's dead weight, so I want to get rid of it. So the stack decoupler will just take this off, and it will just leave me with this cockpit. Basically, gets rid of stuff when you don't need it anymore. You also have a decoupler that you can stick on the side of things. So if you want something to pop off the side of it, you could do that as well. These grid segments basically for just making stuff, so you can add bits on the side and stuff like that if you want to make a certain shape. Winglets as well. I didn't know you could add that to that. Winglets are great to add to just for stability and aerodynamics. I've not really played with that. You can stick an aerodynamic cone on the top as well. This is what I have at the moment. You can unlock more stuff as well. Battery packs are important to charge things. Landing struts, they're really good. You can extend them out, and so you don't blow up when you hit the ground, basically. Radial mount parachutes are ones you can just stick on things to help them go back down to Earth, and then you have a parachute you can stick on the top as well, which does the same thing. Slows you down so you don't crash into the ground. All the science stuff, that sort of helps you make science, which you need to buy stuff with. So how you can have a science lab, and you can right click it when you're in space, and you can do experiments, and that'll bring you science. The same with the goo. You can inspect the goo at different environments to see how it works. And then these communication things, comms, they just send the information back, so you don't have to land and recover the ship to get the science that you've made. You can just transmit it back. And that's all I have really, and then you sort of make ships, and I'll show you a couple I made to start. I think the Raven was my first one. Let's have a look at that. So very simple, it just tries to get into space, and that was it. And then it has a parachute on it, and then it has this transmitter. A very simple one. So we'd have a look at the launch pad. It won't be very good, this, but I'll show you what I did with it. We sort of need a decoupler as well. It's one thing. I didn't have that at the start, I don't think, decouplers. So when I'm landing, I can get rid of this engine and it won't blow it up. So let's save that, and we'll show you how launching works. Very fun. This is my favourite part, making the ships go up. So you got your ship on. So we control the throttle with control and shift. Shift makes the throttle go up. Control makes it go down. Another important button is T. T puts on the systems for piloting, basically. So you go straight up. You won't just crash back down again. And we have something of distance there. Yeah, a bit of debris from something I made. So you want to put throttles on full, and then to lift off, you just press space. That puts you into stage 1 on the bottom left. You can see the different stages, which I actually need to change. That needs to go there. Okay, so that's important. So the engines will go off first, and then the next time I press space after launching, it will go into get rid of the engine, and it will put the parachute up. So we're at full throttle, we press space. We good to go? Yeah, there we go. And because it's very light, you don't need a lot of... It's not going to go very high, this. If I press T, that'll sort of make it go straight-ish. And then we're just going high up. Obviously we don't have enough fuel to get that high. Let's see, it's gone already. And we're going to just start losing, and we're going to start heading back down to Earth. But what we can do is we can get rid of that, press space, we go into this last stage, which will put our parachute up, and we're about to... Ooh, that was close. Almost crashed into the engine. And then we can just speed it up, and we'll head back down to the ground. And that is the basics. That's going to blow up. We head back down. Okay, we exploded. If I would have slowed it down, it helps. For some reason that helps it get the parachute out. You'll see much more complicated things than that. But we abort. Go back to vehicle assembly, and you can see my... Let's go back to the Atmos Buster. Here it is. I made a bit of a change, so as soon as this drops, we have a look at the stages down here. So the first stage is these 4 engines will come on. Second stage, the third stage even, is that this will drop off everything, and then we will have another Atmos booster engine, propulsion thing, all the technical terms here. That'll go, and then the next one will get rid of that, and it'll start the next engine, and then the next one will get rid of that and start the next engine, which will be the last one. And what I need to do is put a decoupler here actually before I send it off. So if I put that there, so as soon as I'm crashing back down to Earth, which is going to happen, then I'll just have this pod bit and I can put out the struts and the parachute and everything, and we won't have the engines in the way. So that wants to be last stage. Alright, and I think that's good to go, and we'll see a more complicated thing in orbit now. Well, orbit. I've not gotten into orbit yet. And you'll probably see why when we go to launch the ship. Alright, it's a pretty big ship, this one. It's ridiculous. When I say I'm not very good at technical, you'll see why. I stick as many engines on as possible and we just go.